Introducing Shop, Click, and Pick, the simplest way to support those doing good in communities everywhere. We understand that shopping is a necessity, but with a slight adjustment, you can make a huge difference without spending any extra money. Here's how it works. Please visit communitypayitforward.us and navigate to the Find Your Partners tab. Discover our verified giving partners, which are trusted allies ready to meet your needs. Shop with any of the partners that resonate with you. Click a picture of the receipt or invoice, then pick the mission partner you wish to support and use their QR code to send the receipt directly to us. After that, all you have to do is sit back and enjoy your purchases, knowing that you've made a meaningful change for someone in need. Community Pay It Forward amplifies your business's impact by sharing the story of those who require your services, rallying support for those who need us all. Because no one needs to go it alone when we all come together. Great afternoon to everyone. My name is Zach Clayton, Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the PAC channels. Welcome to Footprints Forward. This is our effort to try to help and tell the stories of people who have been through things that have changed their life and made recovery from mental health or suicide ideation possible. Or people who have suffered with different things and in different ways. We really want to make sure that we are talking to people and focusing on what we can do together. We want to tell the people. We want to tell the people of the story of those who have succeeded. So if there's somebody out there who feels in a similar manner, they can maybe take a hint of what they've heard and make a change in their life. We also want to give you the opportunity to come on and tell your story. you'll see a QR code up in the corner. And if you would like to come on and visit us on Footprints Forward, we invite you to do so. We'd love to hear your story. We'd love to share your story. All we ask is you just come on and you let us know. This guest today is it's a very sad story. It really is. Um, the the backstory behind it is just tragic all the way around. I mean, it is just tragic all the way around. There's no other way to put it. Todd Lingel is the founder of a wonderful, wonderful project called CARES Foundation. And there are a couple things in here I would really like to draw your attention to. One, of course, the foundation itself, what the wonderful thing that they're doing, and the wonderful thing that Todd has built here. And I think it's amazing some of the things that he says about family members and recovery time, because folks, we've said it so many times that one person's going to recover differently than someone else. Okay, there should not be expectations on someone's recovery. People should be allowed to recover as they recover. We cannot put a timeline on how you are fully going to recover. And I think that if we stay away from that, we can do each other a huge favor. So please make sure that that's something that you do. Todd lost his mother and sister, as you will find out here very quickly, in a drinking and driving accident, and they were hit. And his sister, we cleaned it up for this recording, but I'm going to tell you something. His sister died in a very, very gruesome, graphic way. And I would like to draw attention to his story, and it's going to make me bubble up right now. The story on the logo for CARES Foundation, and particularly the K. It's a very touching tribute, and I think it really brings a lot of attention to who his mom was. Again, it's very, very hard story to listen to, and I do suggest that if you have any children with you, you may want to pause this video and come back to it a little bit later, because this is dealing with very adult material. And while we tried to keep the graphic cleaned up, there are adult situations in here that may not be something you want your kids to hear. Then again, you know what? Maybe you want your teenagers to hear this. Maybe you would like your teenagers to hear this, because that's something that Todd is trying to build. He's trying to build a safe place for teenagers to call when they've had something to drink, when you may have had something to drink, and you're looking for, look, his thing is he just wants to save lives. Again, this is a very difficult story to listen to. I appreciate Todd for what he does. I appreciate Todd for who he is. I would like to now introduce you to my friend and brand new Community Pay It Forward mission partner. We will support CARES Foundation with every purchase you make by scanning his QR code, which is going to pop up on your screen here in a second. All you have to do is go to any Community Pay It Forward giving partner, take a picture of the receipt and scan it to us. That's it. And say, you know what, we want to support Todd, we want to support Cares Foundation, and money will go directly to them simply because you shopped and took a quick picture and sent it to us. So all you have to do is here during this interview, his QR code appears up in your corner. It's a blue and purple one, which kind of matches this one here, but this one is different, I promise. But just simply scan the QR code and tell us that you support what they are doing, because what they are doing is very special. There's the QR code that you will see throughout the program. So once again, this is my great friend, Todd Lingel of Cares Foundation. We've got a brand new mission partner with us, and we're thrilled to have him here. Um, Todd Lingel, how are you doing?
I am doing wonderful today. It's a great day anytime you wake up, right?
Yep, yep. Um, tragic, tragic circumstances on why you started the Cares Foundation. And once again, we do want to warn parents. This one does deal with tragedy, so we're not going to be talking about anything too graphic, but well, there's one part that's pretty graphic, but just please be careful if you've got young ones in the car. We do talk about people passing away, so just please be warned. But Todd, do me a favor. Explain the circumstance. Why don't we go first and let's talk about what Cares Foundation does?
Okay. So what we do is, again, my mom and sister were killed by a drunk driver when I was 3, and I go around and talk to junior high, high school age kids, even adults, and talk to them about the impact it was on my life, how it affected me. I talk to kids about the drinking and driving. Don't do that. We also talk about peer pressure, um, marijuana use, and social media, not knowing who they're talking to on the other end of the phone, um, and just overall knowledge, just things that could trip kids up in today's world. And I tell kids that it's okay to make mistakes, but I would like them to keep the mistakes to where they're going to learn from them, not ones that will last a lifetime.
Tell any kid that to and especially somebody whose brain is not yet developed, and which is one of the bigger problems that we have with teenage drinking, is that, look, alcohol and drugs really affect a developing mind much worse than an adult mind. And that's not saying that it's good for the adult mind, because it just makes an adult an idiot a lot of times. So
Right.
um what are some of the things that you do to try to persuade these kids to stay away from alcohol and drugs?
Well, the first thing I do is a lot of people would say, "Well, you're like mad." I'm like, "No, I tell them a story, but I talk with the kids and not at the kids. Ask them some questions and just make it more personable." And a couple of things I do, I have available. I have drunk goggles that they can put on and act like they're in, makes them at certain levels of intoxication. I also years ago used to be a correctional officer, so I have a pair of belly chains and leg irons that kids can put on, and I talk to them about those choices that they're going to make. Like I said before, I go around and speak and just be real with these kids, and I give them my cell phone number, and say, if you get in trouble, call me. I'll be the buffer between you and your parents if you're afraid to call your parents, because I'd rather you call someone to get help than get in that car or do something else. Then they have to have a police officer knock on your parents' door and say, "Hey, your son or daughter's dead, or they're in jail." Um, so you know, we're just out there trying to save lives.
This is really a situation that you don't understand fully how much you can impact your life until you are in the situation itself. Um, Obviously, you'll never know how much of an impact is if it's a situation that you lose your life. But if you injure or take someone else's life, there's no way that you can know the impact that you've made until that happens, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, um, let's let's go on ahead and talk a little bit more about the story of your mom and your sister, and let's talk about the reason why Cares Foundation is needed.
Okay. Well, it all started. I was 3 years old. It was in June 14th of 1975. It was a day before Father's Day, and my mom was taking my sister and my brother to my grandmother's to for a 4-H meeting. My brother was going to, and then my sister wanted to bake pie crust with my grandmother. And so my mom was taking them, and they didn't show up. And of course, back then there was no cell phones. And I'd stayed home with my dad. He was breaking a horse. And so finally, my grandma calling, my dad heard it and answered and said, "Hey, they haven't shown up yet." So my dad goes, "Well, we'll get in the Jeep and we'll head that direction. Maybe they broke down." So about 3 to 4 miles out of town, we drive up on a wreck, and my dad sees. This is what he tells me because I was only 3 years old. He tells me he sees it's our car, and he gets out of the Jeep and starts running toward the car. And a buddy of his was a deputy there, saw him coming, and basically tackled him in the middle of the highway. And my dad said he told me that he said Karen and Shelly are gone, and Darren's on the way to the hospital, and he needs you. And my dad said he collapsed on the pavement, and that's all he remembers that day. Um, so I'll kind of stop the story real quick right there, and well, I'll continue and I'll go back around. So basically, my brother was hurt. He survived. Uh, one police officer was there, took us to the hospital. My dad said, and after a couple weeks and things, my grandmother was the one that was babysitting me while my dad was working. And that police officer that drove us to the hospital, his daughter was also watched by my grandmother. And I guess I was telling the little girl that her dad killed my mom and my sister. And so my dad, the only way to stop me from doing that, my dad said he took me to the wrecking yard and showed me the pickup of the guy that killed my mom and sister. And I finally stopped saying that. Um, so that was kind of crazy, my dad saying it, but I didn't know anything else about the scene. He couldn't remember anything and all that. So when I started this up in 22, I wanted to go speak at the church where my dad and mom were going at the time when she was alive, and my dad and my stepmom go there. And so going down there, I was talking to the minister, and I don't even know how it came about, but we figured out that it was a minister's wife's grandmother was the first responder to the wreck. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, is she still alive? That was my first question. He's like, absolutely, she is. So I was able to sit down with her for a couple hours, and at first, you're a little skeptical, and she goes, "Well, I worked with your uncle. He was a deputy coroner in the neighboring county." So she goes, "I knew your family." I'm like, "Oh wow, okay." So I was like, "She does know." And I said, "Do you remember that wreck at all?" She goes, "Absolutely." She goes, "I'll never forget it." She goes, "I can close my eyes and still see the scene." And I'm like, "Well, I really want to know the details." And she goes, "You really want to know that?" And I said, "Yeah, because it's going to help me with closure because I don't know anything about their last moments." And I said, "It'll help me convey it better to the people I speak with." And so she's like, "Okay." And I'm just going to ask you before I start in, do you want me to tell details or go skim over?
I think that we should leave the part about your sister,
Okay. I'll go kind of skim
the
over.
injury, just leave the injury part out.
Okay.
I think that would be
So,
best.
okay. So she told me when she got there that there was an older lady that had gotten there, and she must have been trained in from 4-H or something. She had tons of gauze. So everybody was wrapped up in gauze, of course, except my mom, my sister. And so she goes, they were. hit head on, driver to driver. He was driving an F-150 pickup, and my mom was driving a '66 Chevelle Super Sport. And I said, yeah. And she goes, when they hit, it popped the hood up and came back through the windshield. And kids stood up in the front seat back then, and my sister died instantly. Um, and she goes, when she got there and saw that, she saw my mom was giving my sister a hug. And I said, well, that makes total sense, because I said my mom's death certificate says she died moments after impact. So I really think she had enough life in her when she turned and she saw my sister was had passed, that she leaned over and gave my sister a hug. And so that still gives me chills right now. That
You've
that
I've heard this story 4 times, and I'll tell you, Todd, every time that you tell it, it I have to swallow back tears.
yeah, and so when I heard that, I'm like, oh wow, that gave me, what do you say? I guess it was a point when I started to be able to find a little bit of closure, that I knew their last moments, but my mom was able to hug my sister. So I found some comfort in that, even though the other graphic stuff that I heard. And so I went back to my home place after being down there, and I talked to a friend of mine because I hadn't gotten a logo yet. And so, as you see on the screen, folks, the CARES Foundation. Um, my mom's name was Karen. That's where the KARE comes from, and the S is for my sister Shelly. That's CARES. And then the one leg of the K that wraps around the other, that's the significance that my mom was giving my sister that hug. And then that the color of the logo, the bluish purple color, was my mom's favorite color. So that's how the logo came to be. Um,
It
yeah, so it's impactful for sure.
Yeah, and just to let everybody know, this is the QR code that you can take and you can scan. Every time that you scan this QR code, you get to go to a link where you can find any partner to shop with in the community Pay It Forward family. You shop with any of them, you can take, and let me go on ahead and show this here real quick.
Okay.
Um, and what you do is when you go to this form right here, and when you scan the code, it's going to take you here to this form, and I will get the website fixed. It'll be fixed by the time you guys see this video, but you get a little bit of an explanation of the story about CARES Foundation. You can come here, and this first link, you can visit and see all of the community Pay It Forward partners. Or you can hit this link and tell us what you're looking for. Okay. And we'll try to team you up with as many partners as we can. Then you simply take a photo of the receipt, if it's a paper receipt, or you upload the text or emailed receipt. Simply give us your name, your email, and hit submit. And CARES Foundation is going to get 75% of the referral that partner has given us. So say it's $10 referral, CARES Foundation is going to get $7.50 simply because you've decided to shop with one of our partners and you want to support Todd and the CARES Foundation. Um, Todd, that is a I mean, it's a terrible story. It's a terrible story. Um, Years and years later, you received a gift from your father.
Yeah. Let me show you that gift here. So in uh, in 2012, mind you, 75 again is when they passed away. And in 2012, my dad says it's about time that I show you this. And he pulled out my mom's purse. This is the purse that she had with her when she passed away. And I was like, whoa, you know. As soon as I saw that, I got emotional because at that point I had never ever seen my mom's handwriting at all. Because the attitude back in '75 is you didn't go to counseling, and the old saying "buck up, buttercup," that was the way things
Yep.
were done. And so we just kind of closed it up, moved on, didn't talk about my mom and sister. In fact, my mom's side of the family, I saw my grandmother once a year at Christmas time, and my uncle that was like 15 minutes from me, maybe once every couple of years. Then when I got a little older, I was pretty good at sports, and so he'd come to my games when I played his city. Um, so this was huge. I never got to see anything, and got my mom's the old 70s 70s purse there, and and then one of the thing that was awesome for me to see, like I said, was my mom had her handwriting. It's just that was my mom's handwriting. The very first time I saw it was that right there. It's just it very impactful, and still I just every time I open this up, it's like I get the chills every time that I open this up. Um,
Yeah.
so and it's original. All of what my mom had in there is everything. There's some a Sambo's restaurant that I guess we went to, and there's some kids bucks in there for each one of us kids, and so but my dad giving me that opened up the opportunity for him and I to talk even more about it. Because like I said, the attitude was buck up, buttercup, and we just moved on. So, but as life went on, I always felt like there was something there, and I didn't know what it was growing up. And my mom was 30 years old when she died, and about my 30s years old, 31, something like that. Um, I had to deal with those feelings, and what that feeling was, I didn't know what it was, and I was depressed, and doctor put me on some medication, and I was the one in 250,000 that got worse on the depression medication, and I actually had a shotgun in my mouth, um, and almost committed suicide. And thankfully, I this is glory to God for me, is he slapped me upside the head. I guess I don't even remember the sitting there with that. It was just the after effect. And so I called the doctor and I said, hey, I said, I was for on call doctor and happened to be my doctor. And I said, I want to get off this stuff. And she's like, okay, be in my office Monday. So I went in Monday and I said, I want to go to a Christian counselor, and between God, the Christian counselor, and myself, we can figure this thing out. So I went to around 4 years of counseling. And we went clear back to when I was 3 years old and mourned my mom and my sister's death. I don't think I'd ever done that. And so I went through those 7 stages of grief. And I also learned at the time that I have general anxiety and separation anxiety. So I've learned to cope with those, and I have coping skills now that when they come up, most of the time I can take care of it. But there's once in a while that I tip my hat, okay, got me today, but I'm going to go for a drive or whatever that relaxes me, and I'll move forward. So that's something else that I share with these kids, that during things you can fight through it and ask for help. Excuse me.
Yeah. The the person that hit your mom and dad, um, have you had a chance to talk to him? Have you had the ambition to talk to him?
um, back in the day, my brother and I really wanted to know his name so that we could go visit him. We weren't going to talk to him, and thankfully, nobody gave us his name. He actually went to high school with my mom. Um, but he unfortunately passed away when I was in 10th or 11th grade, from alcohol poisoning, from my understanding. Um, and so he's not around anymore. And I've forgiven him a long time ago, for me, and now I'm trying to find out a little bit more about him, because there's kids that just don't have that opportunity. They may have been in an abusive situation to where which led him to drink and drive and do those types of things. I don't know. I don't know about his life that much. And so, you know, and I tell anybody, I don't when I talk to these kids and I give them my personal cell phone number, to call me, I tell anybody call me. Um,
Yeah.
it's on my website. My personal number is, and I've had a couple of alcoholics call me, which is fine. It's great because they're reaching out for help. I'll help anybody, and I'll go speak anywhere. I told one of my friends that, you find me a place to speak, as long as I have a sleeping bag and a floor, I'm there. I don't need anything else. I'm an old farm boy. I can sleep on any floor. I don't know if it's care if it's concrete. If I can go anywhere and speak to kids and change a life or save a life, that's what this is all about.
Todd, I want to talk to you about the forgiveness part.
Hmm.
Can, can you explain, can you walk me through what it took for you to forgive that individual? And I asked this, Todd, because I'm going to tell you right now, if somebody would hurt my one of my boys, I'm not sure if I could do that. I'm not sure if I could forgive him.
Yeah, I think I said it for me. I grew up in a non-denominational Christian church, and
Hmm.
you know, that's one thing that's a driving factor for me. And I guess, I think I verbally said that I forgave him probably, I'm gonna guess 23, 24 years old, somewhere in there, just for me. But I think truly forgiven him is when I went through my counseling. Um, and when I went and mourned my mom, my sister's death, and went all the way through it, that I think is the point where I really truly, I thought I had forgiven him. I think I really did think I did. But when I went through the counseling, it brought everything else up. And so then I think truly forgave him at that point. And it's not so much, it's for me expressing that to him, but it's really for me.
Yeah.
It's releasing the anger, the thoughts of, what would my life would have been like if my mom, my sister were still here. Would I wouldn't probably have the anxiety and everything I've gone through in my life. Um, so that, I would say, was probably the best thing that I could ever done, is forgive him, even though I couldn't talk to him anymore. And if I could have talked to him face to face, I would have went and talked to him face to face, because you know what? What would have been a huge and even bigger impact is if we could have spoke together, and him talk and then and me talk. And so, you know, I I challenge anybody has gone through anything or is going through anything, fight the anger that you have there. Try to find out what it is, that key to unlock that, to let it go, because it's just going to hurt you more. Um,
And I say this knowing that when the person ran me off the road on my motorcycle, Jeff, Todd, I'm sorry.
no,
If
you're fine.
if I were going to go and I were going to try to, if we could find out who did that,
Right.
I have said for years, and I absolutely mean this. I forgave him. I don't care anymore. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm doing what I should have been doing all along with
Yeah.
community pay it forward. I am fine. All I would want to know, or all I would want for them to do, is to talk to my sons. Tell my sons why they ran me off the road and left me in a ditch to die.
Yeah.
Talk to my sons. I don't care. My sons still have that grudge because they don't know who did it and they don't know why,
Yeah.
you know? And so I understand the part about, I understand a little bit about the forgiving someone, but I understand it about, this happened to me. And,
Right.
I mean, if we, I think it would just be harder if it happened to some, but then again, I think it's always harder when it happens to someone else. It's not,
Yeah.
you as an adult, and if you're anything like me as an adult, you think, hey, you know what, I'd rather it happen to me because I've lived a life. I've, went through my ups, my downs. I know that there's still a future here, but guess what? If it's in between me or or my neighbor's kid, I'd rather it happen to me because the neighbor's kid
Right.
has a life to live. So
Yeah.
um let's again, that is such a hard story to tell, and it really puts an emphasis on some of the good that you're doing. Todd, I want to talk about some of the things that you are needing.
Okay.
Obviously, you and I have connected to where the community pay it forward has a small part in what you guys do. We're trying to help
Yeah.
you raise money. There is also a link, and I want everybody to know this. There is a link on their landing page on our website, communitypayitforward.us, that if you click on that link, it goes directly to their pay portal. We do not do anything with their donations. So if you want to donate to them and you stumble across their page on Community Pay It Forward, remember that money, 100% of that money goes to Todd and his organization. Community Pay It Forward has nothing to do with that. All we want are your receipts and the company's money. We don't want to do anything with your money. That money goes directly to them. What are some of the things that people's donations are going to do?
Okay. One of the biggest things we have, and coming up this summer, I want to. I mean, the goal is to have one in every state. It's called Camp Cares, and of course, the significance of the K. I use the K everywhere because of that significance. So it's Camp
Mm-hmm.
Cares, and what that's going to be is 75 kids that have been infected by drugs or alcohol in the Arizona here area. We're going to have an Elks camp. That's where we're going to, and these kids that have been affected by drugs and alcohol, we're going to give them some tools to help them either break the chain of maybe grandfather drug addicts, of parents, just kind of break that chain and help kids understand that there are other things out there. um, and we're going to have some horses up there, just have a good time. Our theme is survivor. So we're going to like make some the wrist oh can't think of the name of it now, but we're going to do some different survival stuff. And uh, and like I said, just give them some tools. And then after we're done with that, we want to get back together with these same 75 kids every 3 months and check in with them. Say, do you need anything? What's going on? And just continue that relationship building. And we're in hopes that we build the tool and the foundation for them to go out and help their peers. Um, and we want to do this every year. The cost for the camp's around $40,000. So we're raising funds for that, and you can sponsor a child. It's $300 to sponsor a child, and we've got I think about 30 kids sponsored so far. Um, and so you can do that. If you can't sponsor a child, $5, $10, $25, it all counts. You just go on our website. The website's ks-cares.org with a K, and put in there $25 monthly reoccurring. We are a 501(c)(3), so it's tax deductible. So it really is going to cost you about $12.50 a month when it comes down to it after your taxes. So a cost of a Happy Meal or McDonald's meal nowadays. Um, so that's one thing we're doing. And the other thing is just me going and speaking around all over. And one of our goals toward the end, I guess if you say one of my goals I've had in my head, of course, there can be other things we're going to do as well, um, is to open up a treatment facility or a sober living home. So we can help in all realms. And we've got a couple things in the burner in the back as well. One thing I want to get started here soon is actually having a page on the website where people that are elderly could go on and write out, "Hey, I need a light bulb changed" or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go out and change their light bulb. And if they want to donate to CARES Foundation, they can. If they don't have anything and they don't want to, that's fine too. I'm just going to do this as a service to our elderly community. Um,
That's one of the reasons why Community Dare to Care was created, because Community Dare to Care, it's we ask people to, it's for the community, from the community, for the betterment of the community. And
yeah.
we have people ask us all the time, hey, do you have somebody who can come and help us mow the yard or do whatever? And it's a wonderful program that my wife is doing a great job running. I did just want to bring this up while we were talking. Ta-da, we got it fixed, so
All
it
right.
actually
Nice.
works now. So
All right. Cool.
I wanted to bring that up and tell people that now you can, when you scan the QR code right above right above Todd's head. You will be able to go directly to there if you just press on their website. Um, is there anything else that you would like to share with us before we
You
let
know,
you go?
if anyone has anywhere, if they know, can give us connections like district superintendents to where I could get into a school district to speak. Um, any of that would be great. And if nothing else, too, if you're a church goer or whatever, pray for Cares Foundation that we can spread the word and impact kids.
And one last question about the camp. Was that 2025 you're going to launch that, or are you going to launch it later this
It's
summer?
going to be in June of 2025. Yeah,
Okay, June of 2025. So we do have a little bit of time, but I think $300 for a kid. I think that's a fantastic way to show that you really care about your community, and I think that is a perfect place to go. Of course, we would love it if you would support Todd and Cares Foundation by scanning that QR code, shopping with any of our partners. All of our partners are dedicated to giving us a referral, which 75% of that referral goes straight to Todd. So please make sure that you go and check them out every time that you need to shop. Um, Todd, your cell phone number in case anybody needs to get a hold of you. Can you give that to us, please?
yes, it's 541-490-5171. It's an Oregon number. I just kept it. I live in Arizona now, but it's an Oregon number. So give me a call. If I don't answer, please leave me a message and I'll call you back. Um, I will call anyone back. And if somebody's in trouble, you call me. If it's 2 o'clock in the morning, I keep it on. If I hear it, I'll answer it.
Folks, this is I cannot emphasize how wonderful this man is. Okay. I got to know him. We're in the beginning stages of our relationship, but I already feel a kinship and a love with Todd because of what he's doing. He just offered everyone out there a chance to where, you know what, if you're having that trouble, you know, look, let's be honest here. Maybe if you've been out drinking and you know that you shouldn't drive, but you can't figure out what to do next, call this gentleman.
Yep.
Call us. Okay, call us. We can try to help you find a ride home. It might take us a little bit, but damn it, we will try. Okay,
Yep.
there is no reason to take and turn that key. Nobody drives better drunk. Nobody. It's impossible. Your
Yep.
brain does not work well when it's affected. Okay. So the next time you hear somebody say that, just don't believe them. But I mean, just realize how ridiculous that statement is.
Yep.
Yeah, I surf better if I stand on my hands.
Yeah. Oh, one other thing we're doing, I didn't even show this. Um, I've got a nickel I'm wearing, and it's a nickel pledge we're doing. The nickel is uh, for my mom. There's 5 people in my immediate family: my dad, my mom, my sister, my brother, and myself, the 5 of us. But then also these kids will be wearing this, and I've given it out to where it reminds them that they are never going to drink and drive, and if they see somebody else, they are taking the pledge to call their parents or 911. And so that's a nickel pledge I got going out when I go speak.
Wow. That truly is fantastic. Um, your brother and your dad, have they fully recovered? Are they? I mean, and when I say fully recovered, I mean as recovered as you're really going to get.
Right.
You lost a mother and a sister. There's no way you're ever going to recover from that. But if they
Yeah.
recovered well,
Um, are they both functioning? Yes, they're both functioning adults. But have they dealt with it? I don't, in my opinion, I don't think they've dealt with it fully. My dad, he and I have gotten to talk about it. actually, but there's a certain point he'll cut me off and doesn't want to talk about it. Like, for example, he knows the guy's name that, and I know the guy's name now too that killed him. But I asked him if he could find out some more information about him. He goes, nope. It was a quick nope. And so I understand. And my brother, um, he's functioning very well, does very well for himself, but there's there's things I think he needs to deal with, and just because I've talked with him some and been around him that way, he just I think there's some things I could even help him out with. He doesn't really have much to do with cares right now, um, but yeah, he's a great guy. It's just the fact that there's some things that I think probably all of us, and I think the biggest key I think for me was I hit rock bottom when I was 30, 31, and I wanted to find out what it was. So that's really the only way that I even figured it out. And so his wife's a great support for him for that.
Well, let me ask you this, and I'm going to ask you this because I know other people are going to have the question about this. But could it be survivor's guilt on your brother's part that he
Oh,
was able to walk through?
absolutely. In fact, when we've talked just briefly about things, sometimes he can still smell the blood of the wreck. And so, yeah, survivor's guilt is probably one of the few. And I know he has, like me, I know he has separation anxiety. Um,
Hmm.
but like I said, he's surviving. I mean, he's doing well. And it's just those those things that you push back, and that's why I challenge people that if you have those feelings that you pushed back, even though it's gonna be probably the hardest thing you've done in your life, go after that. Get that opened up so you can deal with it, and then completely close it when you're done. So then you don't have to keep coming back and reliving that. When growing up, I would see a mom and a dad and all that. I'd be like, man, I wonder what it'd be like. I was thinking that to myself the whole time I'd see that, and half the time I'd go home and cry at night because when I was a kid, because it's like I don't have my mom. My stepmom was around, but it's still different. It's not my mom. You know, um, so can't hear you.
Sorry about that. I
Oh,
was
there
trying
you
to
go.
get something up. I would like to ask permission to share the 2-minute video, the introduction on your website.
Sure.
Okay, let's go on ahead and let's watch it. It's uh, right around 2 minutes and 25 seconds. So we're going to go on ahead and play that real quick.
Thanks for visiting CARES Foundation website. Just wanted to tell you a little bit about CARES Foundation and how it came about. Unfortunately, my mom and my sister were killed by a drunk driver when I was young. Um, and so it's led me to feel a lot of different things growing up. So I wanted to share that with kids that I go talk with. I'll kind of go back a little bit on how I came up with a name. My mom's name was Karen, and my sister's name was Shelly. So I took the K-A-R-E for my mom's name and the S for my sister and put it together to form CARES. So that's kind of where the name comes from. I do things a little bit differently than some others. When I go speak at schools or to anyone, I talk about how it's affected me growing up because I was 3 years old at the time. And I talk to kids that, the decisions that they make at the time when they're young or teenagers can affect their life forever. And we can't stop kids to go partying. We would love them to not to. Wait till you're 21 years old and then be smart about it. But we all know teenagers are teenagers, and so I talk more about making those decisions at that time to be good decisions. And if you are going to drink, to make sure you take the actions to take care of somebody driving. I also tell kids when I speak that I'm your friend from that point on, so that if they're getting peer pressure, There's all they have to do is say, hey, a friend of mine's mom and sister was killed by a drunk driver, and that, that's why I choose not to. You say that to somebody, the peer pressure goes away immediately. So that's what I talk to these kids about. And that, I give everybody my cell phone number that they can call me if they're in need at any time. I'd rather them call me and have me help them get help than have a police officer come to their parents' door and knock on the door and saying, hey, your child was killed tonight, or they killed somebody. So I kind of take a little bit different approach to it. So I just want to thank everyone for coming online and taking a look. We are a 501c3, fully tax deductible if you want to make a donation to us. Again, thank you for coming online, and I look forward to coming to your city, your school, or wherever you're located to speak to your community. Thank you so much.
So again, phone number is 541-490-5171. That's 541-490-5171. You can also get a hold of him by Todd, KARESF, at gmail.com. Todd caresf at gmail.com. The website is www.ks-cares.org. And again, we do have the website fixed on the job form, so you can go directly to it. You can get to that job form by scanning the QR code above Todd's head. Todd, I want to thank you so very much for being able to share your story with us and allowing us to be part of this horrible, horrible situation that families end up finding themselves in, because there are times that we just don't make the right decisions. And I appreciate you giving us this opportunity to share your word and share your story.
You're welcome. And thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. You're doing some great work. And everybody, just get that help if you need it.
Thank you very much, my friend.
You're welcome.
Introducing Shop, Click, and Pick, the simplest way to support those doing good in communities everywhere. We understand that shopping is a necessity, but with a slight adjustment, you can make a huge difference without spending any extra money. Here's how it works. Please visit communitypayitforward.us and navigate to the Find Your Partners tab. Discover our verified giving partners, which are trusted allies ready to meet your needs. Shop with any of the partners that resonate with you. Click a picture of the receipt or invoice, then pick the mission partner you wish to support and use their QR code to send the receipt directly to us. After that, all you have to do is sit back and enjoy your purchases, knowing that you've made a meaningful change for someone in need. Community Pay It Forward amplifies your business's impact by sharing the story of those who require your services, rallying support for those who need us all. because no one needs to go it alone when we all come together. And again, the point I was trying to make about the family is with Todd's brother. He said it right there that, look, we all grieve in our own in our own separate way, and trying to make someone um, heal in a way that they're not comfortable is probably the worst thing that you can do. We need to allow people to do what they do in order to make sure that they get everything out. And Todd told you in there that he didn't fully even accept what happened to him until he was around 30. He didn't grieve. Um, and I don't know, just playing dime store psychologist here. I don't know if that's because he lost them at such a young age and you just didn't even realize they were supposed to be there. I mean, I know that deep down in your head you're going to know that they were supposed to be here, but losing someone to an accident like that, you really didn't even have a chance to know them to understand that they're supposed to be in your life. So um I want to thank Todd for being so open about everything. And I want to thank you for joining us right here on Footprints Forward. Please, again, if you would like to tell your story of something that you battled with mental health, tragic stories, loss, victory, or programs meant to try to help people, scan the QR code above and come and join us. My name is Zach Clayton, Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the PAC channels. And I want to thank you very much for joining us right here on Footprints Forward. We'll see you next week.